Then there were two. Is your governor the guy?
Good morning. It's great to be with you. You know that Tim Walz has failed the great state of Minnesota. And just give you some quick examples. And, you know, we had a $19 billion, that's what it'd be, $19 billion tax surplus. And in 1 year, he brought it to a $10 billion tax increase on all of Minnesotans. And you look at, he has grown Minnesota government by 40% in the short time he has been our governor, and you just look at the failed policies that he has put forward. It's unbelievable. You look at the illegal immigrants. He has given free driver's license, health care, and college to illegal immigrants, and he wants to make Minnesota a sanctuary state. That's one of his goals. And if you look at his socialist agenda and the Democrat Socialists of America, Tim Walz fits that identity to a T. The fact of the matter is, Minnesotans are hurting. His policies have failed Minnesotans in many ways, and it doesn't surprise me that Kamala Harris would be attracted to that type of candidate.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because many of our political analysts on this morning were honest, and they said they had to essentially Google him because they didn't really know what he stood for. And then a bunch of stuff comes up. So what does he bring to the ticket? Why would she be narrowing it down to him and Shapiro, do you think?
Well, look, if you go back to 2020, for example, Tim Walz allowed Minneapolis to burn for 3 straight days. And at the same time, Kamala Harris was putting out on her social media monies to the Minnesota Freedom Fund to get these criminals out of jail.
Yeah.
So they were working in tandem, and it's unfortunate. Minneapolis has been devastated ever since, and it's a failure of leadership on Tim Walz again. So you can take the Biden-Harris or Harris-Biden administration, their failed economic policies, their failed border policies, energy policies. I just say it's the same car, it's just a different driver, and Tim Walz will fit perfectly in the backseat of that car.
I like that analogy. So your governor also attended White Dudes of Harris, and some of his comments stood out. Take a listen to this.
Don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness. Just do the damn work.
That's a little concerning. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I just mentioned the Democrat Socialists of America have 17 or 18 points they need. Under Walz's failed leadership, every single one of those pieces of legislation have been brought to Minnesota. Every single one. Not even California or New York brought those to their citizens. And so Tim Walz is an extreme radical leftist. And again, that's why he's attracted, or Kamala Harris is attracted to him, because they have the same thoughts, the same failed policies. And right now, Minnesotans are hurting extremely hard right now on the energy economic policies, what we're paying, inflation through the roof. And Tim Walz will just add to that.
And I know during your state's primaries a few months ago, more than 100,000 came out with that uncommitted vote against Biden and Harris, essentially, and what they're doing and supporting the war that Israel has in Gaza. And as we know, Josh Shapiro is Jewish, and he has voiced his support for Israel. So could that ultimately hurt him, especially in a place like Minnesota, where we know how they stand on that?
Well, listen, Israel's our best ally in the Mideast, and right now they're fighting for their very existence. And if you waver on the commitment, the world sees it. Hamas sees it. Hezbollah sees it. The Houthis sees it. Iran can see it. And so you have to have strong leadership. And right now, the Harris-Biden administration is awful on support for our best ally, Israel, in the Mideast.
Yeah, and it's really disturbing that, you know, Josh Shapiro could possibly not become the VP because he's Jewish. I never thought that we would see the day, and that's the world that we're looking at, and that's the Democratic Party that's completely divided and against people because of their religion. Just about 15 seconds to wrap it up.
Yeah, so again, thanks for having me. And if Tim Walz is chosen, the country will see failed leadership, and Minnesotans will be talking about what he's done to be, as far as legislation, the destructive legislation that has put Minnesota way, way behind other states. And we're looking energy and economy, mining. He's the most anti-mining governor we've ever had. That's our bread and butter, northeastern Minnesota, and so we're looking at some devastation because of the trifecta, the policies of Tim Walz and his failed administration.